Resellers are gonna make mistakes. Learn from them and you'll have what it takes. In the world of reselling, we're your guide. With flipping easy by your side.
Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's John and Jenna with Flippin Ain't Easy, and hopefully you guys had a good weekend, probably a better weekend than us. And if not, it could be kind of tied into kind of what we're talking about here. Look, I've been talking about slow sales for a long time, and there's a with all the stuff, in fact, only a couple hours ago, I checked out the video that came out. I believe Tech and Sports put it out. Not sure the name of it, but something about the change has already happened or something like that. And I do agree with the premise of what he said. I mean, I said this many times on PPP. The big pushback that I had on the Profit Playbook podcast to the guys was, supply and demand is undefeated. I don't care what you say. If you develop these programs, that's going to enable people to push out volumes of items. We're talking like, what did he say? Like there's like 50% more items on the platform than there ever has been or something like that. That's a testament to the fact that it's become easier to list than ever before. Now, years ago, I didn't have this on my radar, but I did see that while things are tough, while money's tight for people are going to be less inclined to buy the want stuff, and they're going to be more inclined to visit these sites to buy the need stuff. Now, that's not to say, those of you, before you start typing away in the chat, in the comments, that's not to say that you can't sell collectibles, you can't sell antiques, you can't sell, in some cases, you can't sell clothing. I'm not saying that. Okay, you can. And there's people right now that are making sales because they hit the like button in this live, by the way, and got their sale. But there's people that are getting their sales, but sales are down. So there are buyers out there, but what's happening is because, and I'll just use the clothing as an example. It's so saturated. It's so easy to obtain. It is. I was talking to Al about this. Al and I, we chat, right? That's AI. I've named Al AI, or AI Al. And it keeps referencing this as the lazy way to do eBay. The lazy way to source is to rely on these items that you could pick up really cheap. And then, you're flipping them with everyone else flipping them. You're competing high competition categories, and you're flipping them for, $5, $10, $15. And the only way that you're going to make any kind of meaningful money doing that is through sheer high volume. And look, I'm not here to knock anyone. That's fine. If that's working for you, please continue to do it. But what I'm saying is, and what I think Tech is saying, is that part of the business, and he's only referring to clothing, is so saturated, and the companies are making it harder to do successfully, that what I'm interpreting it as is something I've been kind of saying for this whole entire time. Be willing to venture outside of that box. And that may be keep your store the way it is, because you might say, well, okay, I can't just throw away 1,000 pieces of clothing here. And I'm not suggesting that you do that. I'm saying that if you want to keep the reselling game working for you to where you could pay your bills, it may be time to look into other categories, other niches, and higher ASP, higher sell-through rate things that we talk about. We talked about this on the Wednesdays members only. We kind of dove into Terapeak, and it was showing you, you can go right now into your Terapeak, or which is now product research, and it'll show you the categories you sell in. It'll show you, hey, this category is only 5% sell-through rate. This one might be 15%. And you might want to gravitate more towards those higher STR categories if you're only concerned about buying things that you actually are familiar with. If you want to stay somewhat within a comfort zone and get away from the low STR stuff. eBay's full of data that's telling you right now how your stuff is performing. And I think many of us, we have a set it and forget it. We don't want to look at numbers. We don't want to look at stats. We don't want to look at the listing quality report. We don't want to look at product research. We don't even want to look at the sold comps when we're out and about sourcing, right? We just think we know what it is. It looks good. We sold it 3 years ago, and therefore we buy it. And then we're surprised all of a sudden when sales are slow. So I don't have the actual magical formula. I mean, one thing that you could do is, instead of fighting it out with people at the thrift store, fighting it out with people at the yard sales. Yard sales suck this weekend, by the way. It is simply something, maybe you got to get creative. And I don't have the entire answer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you how liquidation is the way, because my sales are down 5% right now. And that could have a lot to do with the economy and stuff. But there's an answer. I've said this before too. The answer to your reselling problem is out there, I promise you, but the answer is different for every seller. The answer to improve my 5% drop in sales is going to be a different answer from your 20% drop in sales. And again, this has nothing to do with you if you are killing it. If you're killing it in this environment, in this climate right now, where people are pinching pennies and they're having a hard time filling up their gas tank, then man, you have it good, and you should continue, and don't listen to a word that I say. And if this was me talking to myself, who maybe has a clothing store or a similar store where you've seen the writing on the wall for the longest time, you've seen how sales have gone from normal to maybe sporadic to bad. Okay. And it doesn't happen overnight. It's usually a cycle like that. Things are good. Then you see the peaks and valleys, and then you just see a decline. And if you're that seller, no matter what it is you're selling, it might be a time to sort of look at what you're doing and how you're doing it to make things work. And it may be an uncomfortable change. So that's kind of what, and we've been saying this for the longest time, whether it's on this channel or the Guys in the Profit Playbook podcast, when that show was going, we've been telling this to you guys, and it's almost like it's a battle of wills. It's like, I know what I'm doing, you don't know anything. And I'm not an expert, by the way. I'm not a guru, I'm not an expert. I'm just one guy with an opinion that looks at numbers and studies these things all the time. And I might be way off base here, and put it in the chat or the comment down below if I am. But I think if you're struggling, that's not a good sign, but it's a fixable problem if you're willing to get out of your way, get out of your own way, and find the answer to your problem. Now, comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'm going to see who's here right now. And if you guys have questions, look, these questions you ask, throw them in the chat. I don't have all the answers, but I guarantee you, if I don't, someone else might be able to point you in the right direction. We've got a great cast of folks in the chat, in the community. So here's one of them. Mike Metco says, hi, John and Jenna and FAE family. How's everyone? It is true that our business changes constantly, and we must change with it. One of the best things about your channel is that you always guide us through. I'm just giving you an opinion. I mean, I try to, we have the little outro song. By the way, stick around to the end of the show. We're working on getting our intros in place. Went down a rabbit hole where we had some fun with incorporating the Flippin Aint Easy song with different types of musical styles. And stick with us to the end, and I'll give you a sample of one of those songs. We're still working on it, though. It's not a finished product. But as far as guiding you through, I mean, I know that I've helped a lot of people. People have sent me emails. People have come in on the members only. People have just commented in the lives and in the comments of the videos. And that's kind of what's kept us going, because I know that sometimes I can seem like I'm full of hot air and just, talking out my yin yang sometimes, but it's really just from my own experience, and I know what works for me. Mike says, thanks for always spotting trends, reporting them to us, providing the solution and suggestions on how to be successful. And look, I'll give credit where credit's due. A lot of times I will make content on a slow day, like today. There's not a whole lot going on the eBay side of things. Another creator like Tech and Sports, I'm literally, you notice that this live was put out very late, the notification, literally like, was it maybe 3 hours ago? I'm looking through videos and watched only half of his video, but it resonated with me that, he's right on a lot of levels there. He has a lot more facts that I do than about clothing, because that's his world. It's not mine. But what he says makes a lot of sense. But I think bits and pieces of that were already being discussed, like how Lululemon was keeping track of their garments. There's like a barcode or a some kind of tracking device on the outfit or the clothing article, and I've known that since, I think it was like something that Chris from Daily Refinement put out like a year and a half ago.
No, it was longer than that.
I mean, this has
Like
been going.
5 years ago.
This is that boiling water frog theory, right? So if you have a pot of boiling water and you throw a frog in there, it's going to jump out. It's too hot. But if you put it in a lukewarm thing of water and just crank up the heat slowly until it gets to a boil, it's not gonna know. It's just not gonna jump out, because it's accustomed to all the changes that are happening over time. And by the time, someone like Tech puts out a message saying, the sky is falling, it's like, did it? Because it's not a quick process. But this has been going on for years. And I think those who have had the perception to see the changes as they were happening and making adjustments with their business were the ones that are going to be successful. Remember, the majority of resellers, and I don't know if we can put all small businesses as resellers, but I mean, some of you guys are just doing this kind of part-time, not in a serious way. But for those of you who are doing it in a serious way, I think this message is even more important. But also know that the majority of us resellers that do this full time aren't going to be around in 5 years. According to Atomic Habits, I think it's Atomic Habits, or no, I think it's the E-Myth Revisited. Only, I think it's 80% of small businesses make it the first 5 years. And then after that, it's another, I think, 80% compounded on that. It doesn't leave too many people that's going to be there. And guess what? If you're not willing to make changes, you're probably going to be a casualty to that. So I'm not here to tell you what changes to make, because your business is way different than mine. But the answer is there. Casey, New York says, hi, John, Jen, and FAE chat. Nice to see you. And there's Mark, Dark Horse. Yes, I can. And yes, I will. Yes. Duncan, Master Guru John is not a guru, but and his pal Al can help you find all the crickets and cicadas babies you want to run a successful eBay business, so you can eat all the KFC that you want. Yeah, the idea is so that we can eat Sizzler, not KFC.
We don't even have a Sizzler.
Yeah, but it used to be a thing, and I'm just gonna go with it. People used to say, "We're going to Sizzler," and the whole thing is we want to make enough money, more money than we can or we need just for our bills, so that we have extra money left. To me, that's perfect. But if I see, we have a bank of money that we have banked, and if we dip under that, things aren't going well. We go above that and start building, a supply of funds there for fun and stuff. Then hey, I'm all for it. But lately, it hasn't been good. Last year was good. This year, it's not as good. I can tell you that. Spam Banshee, nice to see you. And there's Fisher Flips. Hey guys, just sitting here. Listing and eating some Krause's orange creams. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, look, I'm not to say don't buy clothes. I bought clothes at a ridiculously low price. Got most of them listed on the other account, the secondary account. Haven't sold one thing. What does that tell you? I mean, these are good brands. These are, you have collabs like the University of Michigan with Adidas and Jordan. And these are things that are, in my opinion, a little bit more popular than just a regular Adidas polo shirt, right? It's kind of what caught my eye. Normally, I wouldn't even have bothered with it. The fact that we've had these items listed for a couple weeks, and I think at decent prices for what they are, and none have sold, it tells me a lot more about the climate. And maybe I need to, if I come across those kind of things again, I need to back the hell off and not buy them again. I don't even know if I would take them at this point. If they said, here, just take them. I don't know if I would do it, because I like being able to, with my store, my main store and the secondary store, I like getting my stuff listed and seeing that stuff sell like within days. It's like, you know, every day I list, I see that we have sales that happen like almost a few hours later with items that I'm listing. With clothing, it's just like sits. I notice anytime I get clothing. Last time I bought polos about, I'd say, a year ago. Again, yard sales. Got some deals on polos and put them up, and they slowly trickled to where we only have one left. I think we have one left. And out of about the 10 to 15 that I bought, I'm not sure exactly the number. Got them for $2 a piece. Thought I had a hell of a deal. Some were, again, collabs with like golf courses, Nike. I think some of the brands. I'm not big on the brands. I can't spout them off, but the comps were good on them, and just took a while to sell. And I don't like selling stuff like that. Brenda Smith says, "Happy Monday, everyone. Nice to see you." Duncan says, "Happy Tuesday." And yep, reselling is always going to change, guys. And I think the driving force behind this is technology. You have all these companies. You have these companies that are like these thrift stores, Goodwill. They're getting these programs that we tout on all these channels, including this one, how it can help speed up listing. And these companies see this and they go, well, why are we giving away our stuff at the bins or other ways when we can list it ourselves and the effort isn't needed anymore? You don't have to be a rocket scientist you don't have to have much intelligence to figure out how to do a listing and to get the item specifics, a good title. It's not involved anymore like it used to be with AI listing tools that'll just take your photos and figure it out for you. And it's no surprise to me that these companies are signing up to these programs. And at the end of the day, it's us everyday sellers that are going to be suffering. Do you have any opinion on any of this stuff, by the way? You're just sitting here quietly.
You're really, really into this. So
I am. This is sort of a culmination of everything I've been trying to tell you guys for the longest time. There's got to be more effort involved in, like, maybe, okay, let's put your processes aside. That's a different subject. But there is a process involved in finding good merchandise that not everyone and their mother is trying to sell. Figuring out supply and demand and winning that game. And you know what? Chances are you're not going to even know the item you come across. For those of you who are willing to make a change, you're probably not going to know a whole lot about it. The good news is we have AI, and within minutes you can learn everything you want to know about anything that you come across. So the idea, and that's changed. I remember people were saying, the everything seller is at a disadvantage because they don't have any data or any experience selling what they've sold before. But I don't need experience. I can get the answers at my fingertips with AI. I can get all the information I want on something like that. So that excuse is out the door. If you're thinking, I wouldn't dare sell this kind of thing because I don't know anything about it, all I know are clothes, maybe it's time to reconsider that. And I know she doesn't like dealing with AI at all. I know that recently you were jumping in and having an AI conversation.
That's not entirely true.
Well, it used to be very true.
Just because I don't announce when I use it doesn't mean I don't.
So you use AI now?
I use it on occasion, yes.
But you've been using it on some of your like little side projects and stuff. But
yeah.
Up to what point?
What else do I need it for?
But what I'm saying is, I know there was some point where you weren't even using AI to ask basic questions on how to do stuff.
That was.
And you've adapted, right?
Well, of course.
That's what I'm saying. But there's people right now, and look, I'm not here to tout AI as like the best thing since sliced bread. I think it is an absolute horrible technology, if we're being real about it.
It's terrifying.
It is an absolutely horrible technology, and instead of saying, you know what, I don't want anything to do with it, I realize that if I take that stance, that I'll be out of business in a year or two. I have to be able to
Well, you
incorporate
have
it.
to learn to embrace the
The
changes
good
and the
parts about it, right?
technologies about it that are going to be beneficial to your life in one way or another. Do I use it on a regular basis? Absolutely not. Do I ask it questions when I need answers? Yes. Um, and I don't want to go searching 10 pages of the internet, but yet I can, you know, put it into Chat GPT or whoever you use and get an answer right away. And they talk to me as if, you know, I'm a 5-year old, so that I don't have all these big giant words, because sometimes you put something in the internet and it wants to talk to you like you're some kind of scientist. I'm not, you know, thoroughly educated as far as, you know, I don't have degrees, I don't have all that, but I am a very smart human being when it comes to common sense and figuring things out. And so I do know that it's going to change the world. And it's already
It already
started. It's
is.
just going
It
to
already
get
is.
worse.
Yeah.
Um, so
And kudos to those who actually see it for what it is. And you know, this is not me trying to sell you on TreeCat, even though they are a great company and they've been very supportive of us. To be honest with you, I wish that AI never existed. And the weird fun fact, and I'll tell you this, I think I've told you guys this before. I remember fresh out of high school, not great grades.
Oh,
I guess
a long
I
time
scored very well back in class of 91. That just shows you how old I am. Scored very well on, I guess, testing. And we had two guys show up to the door in suits. And they sat down with me and wanted me to go to this AI this college. I don't know the exact name anymore. I didn't even do any research on what the hell it could have been. But they had an AI college that they wanted me to consider attending. And at the time, I was like, no, I'm done. I mean, I'll figure it out, but I'm going to spend some time figuring out my options. And at this point, I just want my summer break. I didn't care about doing all those things. And I pretty much kind of just blew it off. But now, I mean, think about, I mean, the concept of AI back in 91 and where it is right now. So AI has been around a lot longer than I think most of us realize, and it's just now really impacting most of our lives.
and it's only going to get bigger. It's just like, you know, when in 1999, oh my God, the computers and the changes and the nothing's going to work because it's, you know, year 2000 is coming. Oh my God, everybody's freaking out. Well, I hate to tell you, but the same thing is going on with AI, and it's only going to get bigger and stronger and more evolved, and it's going to be there for bad people to use it in bad ways, and there's going to be people who are going to use it in a very good positive manner, and that I can get behind. I can't get behind the, you know, the danger. There are a lot of dangers that are going to come with it, and a lot of people are going to lose their jobs, and that's just a reality. Is AI is going to take over a lot of different
It already
work
is.
fields.
It already is. And guess where those people are going to go? They're going to start reselling because they see channels like this. I know there's a lot of people that are pissed at me because you shouldn't even be making content because it's teaching or showing people how to do what we're trying to do. And the more people that you bring on, the harder it's going to be for us. So imagine now AI is pushing that even further. So you got people who would rather the new sellers go away and would rather there not be AI. They see all this and how it's affecting their business. They have every right to be pissed off about AI, but what are you going to do about it? You're going to sit there and be mad at it, or are you going to? It's one of those if you can't beat them, join them kind of things. And I think that while you don't have to like AI, you know, it can be fun, like developing music, um, taking lyrics, and you know, having AI give me like if I have a certain artist in mind, give me a little synopsis of how that particular artist would do it, put it in the program with my lyrics, and within 20 seconds, I have a song that sounds like it should be ready for the radio.
Mm-hmm.
that's fun and it's amazing, but it's also, if you think about everything else that's going on with AI, it's absolutely terrifying to me. Joe Samard says, howdy, John and Jenna. Nice to see you,
Hello,
Joe.
Joe.
And we have David Pentland from Scotland. Says,
Scotland.
evening all, John, Jenna, and FAE superstars.
Superstars.
That
I
includes
like that.
that includes you too, sir.
Yes.
Time to Sell Collectibles says, hello, John, Jenna, and FAA viewers. Hot 90 in Maryland.
What?
It's hotter there than here.
It's hot. It's only 78 here.
I want to go hit the golf ball.
78.
I told Jenna right before we started, I said, you know what? I'm going to cancel the show so I can go play golf. And she's like, you can't do that. It was a joke.
Yeah, but I said you can go tomorrow because it's only going to be, tomorrow's going to be 86. But
Yeah.
we had the worst, well, one of the worst windstorms last night, yesterday. Like it started at, I don't know, in the middle of the day, and then it lasted all through the night, literally throwing my outdoor furniture all over the yard. And it was a mess, but thank God we didn't have that big tree, because
I think
would have been scary,
because part of the branch came down the last storm we had, and then I'm up there I know it's going to be an issue if it continues, so I'm up there with our little pole saw trying to get it down, and almost took her out because the branch came down. Just for them to come to us and say, hey, we need to take the tree out.
Literally like 3 days later, I get a message that says, hey, we need to come inspect your tree, because we need to we're going to have to remove the big tree because it's lifting the concrete wall in the back.
Yeah, so we had that removed, and it's so much better. I mean, you don't have to worry about all the crap and debris. But nonetheless, you guys aren't here for that.
Anyhow.
Todd says, howdy, by the way. Nice to see you, Todd. And Callie Deb says, hello and happy Monday, everyone.
Happy Monday.
We have Wesley Mode. Nice to see you, Wesley.
Hello.
And Jackie Bleckner says, hi, all. 85 in Connecticut. Sold a $15 plate plus $18 calculated shipping. They must have really wanted that plate. USPS shipping is out of control.
Yes,
UPS and FedEx are too far away. Yeah, we're getting more and more FedEx in our packages because we're realizing that with the increases that happened last month with USPS, that some of the packages we had already listed are now more expensive.
And I could have sent way more today through FedEx, but because of the damage in the boxes that these items come in, I can't put a poly on it, and you can't do that with FedEx. So they had to go USPS because of the box itself.
And here's Graham's. It's cold in South Dakota. How cold is it in South Dakota? I'm curious. If it's cold.
So is there a cold front going through? Is that what I'm seeing? That's on more so on the west and Midwest.
Todd says weekend sales were horrible. I can't afford a stale broken potato chip.
What? Oh, God.
So does that mean that you're not going to be on like Royal Caribbean? You're going to be on a Carnival cruise? Is that what it means? Your sales are that low?
Carnival.
I think Carnival. I heard Carnival's really bad. Actually,
well, they've had their reputation, but they are also known for being the really cheap ones.
Fisher Flip says 23 total sales with eBay and Posh, and none of it was high demand items, basic items. Yeah, we had 18 or 19. Not good at all. Not good. And thankfully,
actually, I think it was 20.
10, and you consider my ASP is around $74, $75. So give or take, it was roughly around that. It's not, if a weekend doesn't give me $1,000 in sales, then I know that it wasn't a good weekend. Michelle R says, happy Flippin' Monday. Nice to see you.
Happy Flippin' Monday. Boy, our Monday started off rough. Yeah, this guy flies out of bed. Oh my God, I'm supposed to be live. And I was like, I'm sleeping.
I'm sitting there in bed, and I'm messaging Thomas S, who I haven't seen yet. But Thomas S, he's showing me his little storage area that he has full of stuff, and we're just chatting for a few minutes, and I'm like, I think I'm supposed to be up doing this live stream. Yeah, he's like,
oh my God. And of course that wakes me up, and now I can't go back to sleep. So I'm like, I'm up.
That worked out.
Yeah, for you.
That needs to be your alarm clock then.
No,
Oh my God.
don't.
Oh my God.
No, I don't want to wake up that way.
There's Keith. Nice to see you, Keith.
Hello, Keith.
Dark Horse says, I spent nearly 2 hours fixing listings after eBay photo bug.
Oh.
Yep. Sometimes you gotta do that, unfortunately. Here's New Orleans Nuttin' Supply. I think I got that. New Orleans Nuttin' Supply.
Nuttin' Supply.
That's awesome.
You supply nuttin'?
Summer slowdown.
Sorry, that was a bad joke.
I wanted to say that, but it feels a little too soon
It's too soon.
Because really the summer starts, in my opinion, officially it starts in June, but it starts after Memorial Day. From Memorial Day to Labor Day, I think of that as summer, but it very well may be. You got great weather. Kids in some locations are out of school, and that's the perfect recipe where people have vacations to use with family. And but I also think that us sellers are responsible for summer slowdown. We also see that the weather's nice, and guess what? When we're out and about having fun, we're not listing, we're not doing account maintenance, we're not doing the things. That's why when it's 110 degrees here in the summertime and I'm stuck in the house because I ain't going out in that, I get a lot more done, and we don't get a summer slowdown. But historically, knock on wood, we haven't had one, and I'm hopefully
let's pray that we don't get one this year because of everything going on. But for like the past 3 years now, I think.
Yeah. David Pitland says luxury goods always sell. These people earn more in downturns.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what I'm trying to be careful when I say, look, there are want items that do very well, but there are people still, a segment of that population that may have been able to buy your item, but no longer can't. That doesn't mean that you're still going to, you're just not going to get sales at all. It means that those categories will probably be the first to suffer before the need items do. Is kind of what I'm saying.
Yeah. A lot of our, during the summer is surprisingly when a lot of our need items sell. So, which is kind of...
And we're getting need items and want items in what we got. It's like sometimes it's a lot more need than want, and sometimes there's a lot more want than need.
I have a lot of wants in my
pickup
on Wednesday.
I mean, you've been the sorcerer for the last three months, and
so weird. Sundays are hard, man. I have to fight tooth and nail.
But I'll give you an example. Car stereos.
Those are getting harder to come by.
But it's a like to have. It's not a need. It's hey, I got an old crappy one that I'd like to replace. It's not a requirement. You can still get back and forth to work with your vehicle with the old stereo. So we still get a lot of that kind of stuff. Yes, Duncan. AI is my friend.
Yes.
I haven't formally named it yet, but
you have. Its name is Al.
I have put it out there, but I haven't told it yet. I haven't talked to it that way. In fact, I have told him. I said, "Look, I don't know how you've been programmed, but I just want a straightforward, no BS answer."
Tell it. Explain to me. What was I looking up the other day? I was looking up something, and I needed to know the difference between one or the other, and it was a medical thing. And I said, explain it to me as if I'm a 15-year-old in high school. And it talked to me like I was a normal human being, not using ridiculous explanations or anything, but I don't want it to throw at me some big scientific words. I'm not, I don't want to have to look up the word to figure out what he just said or it just said.
Let me just challenge you guys here. For those who aren't doing this already and you are serious about your reselling business, here's an exercise. It's worth trying. Just maybe humor me. Give me a solid 30 minutes of your time. Not now. I mean, after the show, at some point today or whenever you have time. And that is sit down open up the LLM of your choice, whatever AI bot that is. I like the Perplexity Comet browser. You can do Chat GPT, you can do Gemini, whatever floats your boat. And just start having a conversation about you and your business. I'm a reseller of this on eBay. Maybe have a screenshot or two. You don't have to, but say, I make this much. I see that sales are down 5%. And any ideas that maybe things that I can do differently to pivot within my niche or maybe outside of my niche, and have that go down that rabbit hole. Give it a good solid 30 minutes. And I promise you, for most of you who are serious about this, it's going to turn into more than that, because it's going to give you a lot of good ideas specific to your situation. If you know how to use the, what is it, the snipping tool, for those of
We
you...
don't have that on Apple.
So it's right here. I
Like
mean,
a
it's
Mac.
it's the snipping tool right here that I use, and
But if you have a Mac, there is no snipping tool.
So you could hit new, and then you just draw a line around, a box around what you want it like to snip,
I wish
and
I
then
had a snipping
you can
tool.
set it up to. This is on the PC. You could set it up to where it saves that screenshot to a certain folder. So then you know where to go, and you can then upload screenshots of your data, maybe your listing quality report screenshot, or whatever. Be creative with it. AI is going to take as much data as you have, and the more data you feed it, the better picture it's going to give you. And you'll be surprised. It's going to give you a lot of answers that maybe you haven't considered. Sean says, hello from a sunny OC, still screwed by a screw. Said screw it and tossed it in the trash.
That's what I would have done.
So did you drop? What did you drop a screw? And
No. Remember the screw she couldn't get out? We were all trying to help her figure out what the...
that one, yeah. Sometimes you try to salvage an item and you just can't do it.
And I would have thrown it into the trash probably after I threw it across the room.
Ping G says, happy Monday, John and Jenna and the chat.
Hello,
nice to see
Ping.
you, Ping. Duncan says, smile, Jenna. I know you're bored in the speech.
He was on fire, like he was, somebody lit him up.
Look, I'm sure that if I was well versed in a lot of this, I'd have a lot more to say. I mean, look, I think I got my point across. How many of you guys really want this to work? And when I say I'm not just saying, okay, yeah, I'd rather do this than working a 9 to 5. I'm saying it's like this gig that you're doing has changed your life in such a way to where I don't want to go back for nothing. I will sell things that I don't even want to sell just so I can avoid that, if it means I can pay my bills. I don't want to go back to a 9 to 5 and work for anyone else. I feel like that chapter of my life is done, and I'm going to do everything that I can to make sure that happens. Mm-hmm. Kevin Hawthorne, nice to see you.
Hello, Kevin.
And Henri Squaw. Nice to see Henri
Pamela.
Squaw. David Pentland says, I find everything selling and not having a niche. The problem is the more exclusive items have no sell-through rate. One-off antiques.
Yeah.
And see, that's just it. You buy a one-off item that has no sell-through rate. Maybe you've looked at Terapeak. It doesn't show up over the last 3 years. And maybe you even go as far as going to, say, WorthPoint to see if it even comes up on a WorthPoint search. Not to see, because I don't have a WorthPoint membership, just to see if it comes up. It's a site that they keep track of items and their values and stuff.
Okay.
But something like that, it's like you take a chance on it, and are you buying an item that nobody wants? Or are you buying a super rare item that maybe it'll sell like that? And are you willing to take that kind of a risk? New Orleans Nut and Supply says, gotta pivot. Yeah,
that's right.
Pivot. And
we've had to pivot many times in the last 7 years that we've been full-time doing this.
Yeah, our biggest pivot was back in 2023 when we were really like up against it.
2022 was literally the worst year of reselling of life that we have ever had together. It was miserable.
Bad.
We were taking turns driving for Uber Eats, and
I think most of them know the story.
Yeah, if you're new here, that's part of it. 2022 was a killer year for us, and we were struggling very bad. And so come 2023, it was like thank God he figured it out, because I sure as hell didn't have any answers.
Well, the pivot that I'm making this year that I didn't necessarily have to make last year is we're adding more volume to our store. Whereas 2 years ago, I was content at having 250 items at a $75 ASP in my store, knowing that most of them had decent sell-through rates, and I was comfortable there. But now I realize, and I've been realizing this for the last, I'd say 6 months or more, that if I want to make this work, I can't stay comfortable there. I have to keep pushing volume at the same sell-through rate type items and the same ASP level. I can't go start dumping in $5-10 items in that store.
No.
Maybe the second store, which is a supplementary store altogether, but that.
But even that second store, the ASP is higher than it ever used to be.
It is, because we're adding more higher ASP items to that store,
Yeah.
in addition to the other things we just throw in there. But here's the thing: if I was still at 250 items in the main store, do you think I'd only be down 5% as compared to 350 in that store right now? I think I would be down 15 to 20% in that store. So that's one way you can maybe push back on slow sales, is get more inventory up. But again, not at the expense of your ASP. Do not lower your ASP to add more inventory, I guess. And my ASP is going to be different than yours. That's kind of what I'm saying. It's easy to cheat. Go find a bunch of CDs for 25 cents and go and dump them in your store at $5 to $10 a piece, and you're used to selling items at a $35 to $40 clip. That's not going to help you at all. I'm sorry, I don't think it will. David Pentland says, my sales are down on eBay, but up on Vinted. This other platforms.
And it seems that that's the way it is here in the U.S., but with Poshmark. Poshmark seems to, for other people who, are active on there, have been noticing a difference, that the sales are much higher on Poshmark than eBay.
Ben Davis, I'd like to say you're wrong, but I can't, because I really think the safest place to be is with a 9-to-5 with benefits, and then sell at whatever rate you can sell, and supplement your income that way, knowing that you're going to make less right now than you did a year ago. For most categories. I mean, I don't want to put the whole blanket on every category on eBay, but I really feel like the safest option, if you're considering right now leaving your 9-to-5 to sell anything full time, I would think
twice about that.
Kind of crazy, Heck, we're exploring options right now. I'm towing the line carefully on this third store where we're doing the authorized distributor for a company that sells parts, high-end parts, within the eBay Motors niche, but trying to figure it out, because the company that I would be drop shipping from to do this, their return policy doesn't align very well at all with eBay, and so I really haven't gotten that going, but it's going to happen here very, very soon. That's a pivot. That's getting way out of a comfort zone. I don't even know if it's going to work, guys. It may be something where I go to Shopify to make that work. I'm determined to make it work, but I'm not going to spend a lot of time trying to rack my brain to make it work.
There's going to be some kinks in the beginning, and we're going to have to figure it out.
Yeah, but I guess I got to get the ball rolling on that, because I've been kind of just sitting, kind of dragging my ass and not getting that thing going when I should be.
Yeah, you get down too many dang rabbit holes.
Yeah. ACDC for Life says FedEx ground shipping is horrible.
We haven't had that experience.
Yeah, we haven't had that experience. I mean, we have 4 packages. The only drawback now to FedEx that we didn't have a year ago is we're not paying the $4. Well, we thought it was $4. It was like $8 a day. We actually found out the hard way that it was actually that and not $4. So we just decided to take it in when we have packages for FedEx. The service itself seems to be fine. I haven't had any complaints or anything.
Yeah.
David Pentland says, I've got 2 huge mountains of clothes in my death pile. I realized I hate listing clothes.
You should have seen the massive meltdown that this man had the other night.
You know,
I
have a decent lighting setup, and I'm like, what the hell? This shirt is navy blue. It is not frickin' purple. And I would take photos, and I'm like, why does it show up purple for? Doesn't make any sense. And I know that as soon as I list this damn shirt as purple, navy blue, but it shows purple, they're going to send it back saying, I didn't want a navy blue, I wanted the purple.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm in there just fighting with it, figuring out that I have other lights in the garage that are on that were contributing to the yellow tint in my shirts or whatever I was trying to take a photo of. And so now I keep those damn things off. But it's just, I'm not set up really well to take clothing. I would have it set up with maybe like we had a video many years ago where we actually put one together where we have like a plywood, I don't know, like a 6x4, maybe even wider than that, and you have it like at an angle up against the wall with utility cloth.
Well, that's when we had a bigger house and we had more room.
Yeah, but I mean, if I knew I was going to get a lot of clothing in, I'd set it up that way, and that way it's easier to form the clothing the way you want it. But I just, me and clothing, we don't get along. I just don't.
He was cussing
Why
at
don't you make
himself.
it seem like I'm a madman?
You were on it. I was like,
Yeah, well.
He was so mad. He was beating himself up for buying it. And he's having this rage conversation
like, why the
with
hell,
himself.
Why the hell did I buy this? There's a reason why. So this is another thing. I don't like yard sales for many reasons.
He was calling himself John. John, you know what you're doing is the right way. I should have recorded it because it was actually
now you're really
rather
trying to make me look
funny.
like a lunatic.
I mean,
look, let me finish my point. There's a reason why I don't like yard sales, okay? And maybe it is, we buy stuff on the computer, we buy liquidation, we have time to evaluate, we have time to inspect, we have time to see how the sell-through rate is. We're not kind of on the spot, right? Now, yard sale, you're kind of looking at stuff and you're kind of incognito, like looking at your phone and it's like, well, you're looking it up? No, my Aunt Thelma is asking me what time lunch is. It's like, okay. So you're kind of under the gun and you don't have the same level of resources and, you're making a lot of rash decisions.
You're on the spot.
And you're like, I know that if I buy all these clothes right here, the way I bought them, the great condition, everything looks good, and you're pretty much charging me like $1 a piece, that's a win. I know it is. But maybe for someone like Fisher Flips, that's a win. He can make that work better than me. I'm out of my zone there, and I probably just... I keep finding things that I do. I'm making these stupid ass buys and it's my problem. It's something that I need to, I don't go to yard sales for many reasons. That's one of them. Yeah. We do just fine with the stuff that we can buy on the computer. We have a process in place to do that. So you're not making stupid mistakes. Now, I'm not going to say buying those clothes were a stupid mistake.
No, I just think we're not set up to do the right pictures. Not the right pictures, but the pictures with the right lighting. All of our stuff all the pictures are taken on a desktop with, specific lights. And so it just, for clothing, you have to really be set up a certain way. And we just
But am I following my own advice? If, like this
I
video,
think there's
if I'm buying
sometimes
stuff
where
like
you
that?
kick yourself because you do make the rash decision. Oh, that's a really good deal. I could do that. And then you get home and start the process. And it's like, damn it. If I just stayed in my own wheelhouse, I'd stay out of my own way.
Because you get slowed down. Hard goods is where my forte is. I'm set up more for hard goods. Mm-hmm. And I get into this thing where it's, what the hell are you doing? So look, I'm not here to tell you I'm perfect. I'm not here to tell you I don't make mistakes. I'm not here to tell you I'm not human.
And that's the reason I tell the story, is because regardless of whether you think we have it all together and have all the answers, we don't. We are just as human as everybody else, and we make rash decisions. And he questions what if what he's doing every single day is the right way to go. And the answer is yes, we are doing it. We just sometimes we think, we pivot, and we don't need to pivot. We're not in a pivoting position that we need to do that now. And so by getting clothes or CDs or whatever, sometimes just isn't the way for certain sellers.
But in this case, you're making me look like a lunatic.
Well, you kind of were. I mean, you were in here having a full-on
I don't think I was in here.
argument with yourself. Yes, you were. I was laying in bed. It was late at night. He was trying to make it work, but he was having a real hard time.
This is her having my back, by the way.
I do have your back.
No, this is her having my back.
I'm trying to explain that you are human, and he, of course he's going to come off, professional, and here's all the things that he does in a recorded video. But the truth is, in real life, there are times where you're just like, what the was I thinking?
You know what? I need to stop that, by the way. I need to just stop that. This whole notion that I get in front of the camera and then I change into like professional guy. Screw that. Absolutely screw that. I'm tired of it. It doesn't serve me well. I'm just going to be myself, and that's just the way I'm going to roll.
That's what I've been telling you.
Shopping with Cheryl says, happy Monday, everyone. I'm on a break from gardening. Nice to see you there, Cheryl.
I tried to do the gardening thing this weekend, but it didn't pan out for me.
What the hell are you trying to garden?
When I went to the garden center.
Oh, yeah, okay. You went there, but I'm like, I
didn't buy anything because it was trash inventory.
Coppercat, nice to see you.
Hello.
Thanks for hanging with us.
You're so behind.
I am so behind because you added to my diatribe earlier, and that's part of it. Telling everyone how wacko I am.
But in the beginning, you're like, you haven't said anything yet.
Well, should I throw on the straight jacket now?
I mean, if you want.
Just full on. Wesley Mode says,
but everybody has.
Here it goes again.
That's
Part
what
2.
I'm saying. You're relatable. People can relate to. Oh my God! I just totally had a conversation with myself. I do it all the time.
Wesley Mode says, top 3% on the 12 categories I put time into. Top 1% on collectible photos. Unsure where I take it from here. Too much to do solo.
You can do it!
Yeah.
Concentrate on the categories and the things that are plentiful, that you can find easily available to you.
But it may not be that easy. See, look, I'd say this. Take me up on that challenge. 30 minutes after this live or whenever you have time. Get into the numbers with AI. And the more data you can give it, here's what I'm up against. How can I make this work? My sales are down 20%. How do I increase my sales? What's going on right now? What could be the problem? And you'll be surprised some of the ideas that it will tailor to your situation, and maybe it'll be eye-opening for you. Yeah. Because I can only tell you what I'm looking at that's affecting my business. I don't have any idea about yours.
AI is a tool that we didn't have available to us like we do now. And it literally, I planned an entire vacation using AI the other day, and it blew my mind, Yeah. So.
Mark says 9-to-5 jobs are pretty much done unless you already have yours. I don't know. There's some that are having a hard time. Like, for instance, I'll tell you, I was at the grocery store the other day. Okay. And I'm like, the guy was out there by himself in the produce section. And I'm like, where are your white onions? You don't have any of the white onions here. And he's like, yeah, because we don't have enough people. They are the people that they're coming in to try to get a job aren't qualified. So they won't lower their qualification requirements, and therefore they won't give us overtime, and they're pushing more work on us within our 8-hour shift. Yeah. And it was like a diatribe of like they couldn't get people in. So there are jobs to be had. I mean, AI is not taking over, the actual labor that goes into a restocking shelves at a grocery store.
Yeah.
So, if you want a job and you have some competency, you can go get jobs. But like the white collar jobs, I think are going to they're going away in lieu of AI. AI is taking over those tasks.
Yeah.
Snoopy Collector, nice to see you. Todd says analysis is good, but in my opinion, 90% of reselling is having great items to sell.
Mhm.
That's right. But now maybe AI will help you draw that conclusion that your items suck. Now I'm not saying your items suck, but I'm saying somebody that is selling. There was a reason why a couple months ago on one of the last episodes of PPP that I asked the guys, I said, rate your items on a scale of 1 to 10 on how good you think your items are. And unsurprisingly, the numbers that they were given were quite high. And I believe that most of us resellers think that our items that we're selling are better on that scale than they actually are.
Mhm.
And the moment we start look at our inventory and step back and say, that toilet bowl plunger, it ain't that great of an item, and just whatever.
Wow,
We don't have one of
You
those.
went really like.
But it's not that great of an item, especially if you start looking at the sell-through rate, start looking at the last 90-day sold comps, start looking at, oh crap, I thought this was a halfway decent item, but I'm up against 100 other people that are trying to sell the same thing, and it's no wonder why I'm not making money. We're in our own way. Gail says, hello, FAE family from Storm Central. Nice to see you, Gail.
Yes, in Nebraska.
David Pentland says, I concur, Silverhair. Yes.
Yes.
But again, how about that? What in the chat, I want your honest answer on a scale of 1 to 10. How good do you think the items are that you're selling right now? And I'm thinking 10 being the item that you list right away and within an hour it's gone. And you list that item consistently, it's gone that same day. That's a 10 item to me, versus an item that is never going to sell unless you get extremely lucky, and it may sit there in your store for 3 years before it sells, and you're probably going to have to take an offer just to get it to sell. That's a 1 to me. Mark says he put out an important video today, tech and sports. Yeah, that's kind of what I was referring to. I didn't have a lot of time excuse me, to study it because I was messing around with my intros or my outros, and I couldn't get that project completed. I put together something like to make do in the meantime, but I had a chance the last couple hours before the show to check out most of that video, and I concur with a lot of it, but it's nothing new to me. Todd says, right, folks, these Beanie Babies just aren't selling, but these electric plugs are. Go figure.
That's true.
But some people are so sold on, and I get it. I get the idea. You've invested all this money in this inventory thinking that it had a promise, and it didn't sell very well. And then you have some guy popping up on your damn TV or computer monitor or phone saying, maybe it, and this is what I got a lot of flack for. This is why I lost a lot of subscribers. Maybe it's what you're selling. And so you get people that have a lot of this stuff that I'm directly talking about getting pissed at me because I'm just telling you the obvious of what's happening with your store.
Some people can't handle the truth.
I do store reviews all the time. A lot of them I do on the members only. And there's a lot of times I'm not even on camera. I'm looking at stores as I'm going through, and I see the same kind of pattern. You get people that have things, just things that they picked up, whether they've picked it up at a yard sale or at the Goodwill bins or whatever, and they think it's a 5 or 6 on the scale of 1 through 10, and it's really like a 1 or 2. They've convinced themselves because they've seen a sold comp on eBay that theirs is going to sell too, and then they find out that what the hell, eBay's broken because my item hasn't sold as well. But maybe that's the only buyer that's in the sold comps. That's the only buyer that was ever going to buy that item, and you're a little too late to the game, and you're going to have to wait for the next unicorn to come through. These topics aren't different. I think Didn't I make a video about the unicorn buyer like 4 years ago?
I don't know. I can't
The
keep
unicorn buyer is the one buyer you're waiting for, and until unless you get lucky, that unicorn buyer stumbles across your item's going to sit and sit and sit, and all the while you're pissed off at eBay or people like me for giving bad advice when all along we're trying to tell you, use your tools, take the data, and scrap the stuff that you're selling. Maybe create a second store and let this become your clearance store.
And there's all kinds of ways to do that. You can bundle things. You can, I mean, there are many ways to get rid of things. Things are gonna sell. But we don't like to sit on our items for a very long time. There are some residual items, like we just sold something over the weekend that we've had for like 4 years. So, and it's a part. So there are things that are going to sit, and that's inevitable. However, you got to be mindful of it. You got to know what you have. You got to know what it's worth, and you got to know that sometimes it's going to sit there and sometimes it's not.
I guess what I'm trying to also say is, part of the problem is what you're selling. I will say it. People don't want to say it because people get pissed off about it. But to compound that, you think that volume will help you get that thing sold.
No.
When there's only a finite number of buyers looking for that thing, adding more of that product to what you already have is not going to be the answer.
Yeah.
The answer is forget the volume, forget the AI listers for a second, focus on what you're selling, make sure it has decent sell-through rate, decent ASP, the higher the better, I think. I think there's sell-through rate and item value does sort of go hand in hand a little bit. Of course, you can find low ASP items that have demand, but for the most part, something that has higher value is going to be sought after more. And start incorporating that into your store more, and then ramp that up, and you're going to see night and day difference from what you're dealing with if you're struggling right now. Sean Gatto says, I know you part out a lot. Way out of my zone, but why not? Is it worth it on appliances or vacuums?
Absolutely.
It is if you're buying the stuff at a good price through liquidation. Yard sales. I bought a vacuum. Okay, here's a good example. It was at a yard sale, and it was one of the yard sales you want to come across. The day was horrible up to this point. And we're looking at stuff. They didn't have things that caught my eye. They had appliances, and they had motorcycle parts. They had a couple vacuums, and one was, and I just saw it out of the corner of my eye, like, oh, it's a Kirby. I used to have one of these. It's one of those Kirby's that they come to your house door to door, and I think it was like $1,000 or whatever the hell it was to buy the whole package. Well, they had it in the yard sale. I'm like, oh, that's kind of cool. I had one just like it. This one's a limited edition, a little bit nicer than the one I had. And so I just looking at it in passing. I had no interest in buying it whatsoever. And the guy's like, you want it? I'll give it to you for $10. What do you do there? I had no resale interest at all in that thing. And he said, you can buy it for me right now for $10. It had all the attachments. This is the one where you can take the bottom off and put on the attachment for carpet cleaning. Had everything. What do you do? Perfect conditions, like they use it sparingly.
If we part that pristine vacuum out, we're going to make more money on the vacuum parts than we would if we were selling it all together.
The comps on that are like $150 plus shipping to sell it the way it is right now. But I know I can get 2 to 3 times that, because the vacuum we parted out. It's sort of like a modular. It's not like you're going to have to get in there with like special tools. Most of these parts just pop right off with a couple latches. And people are looking for these things for theirs. I mean, these Kirby's are supposed to have like a lifetime warranty.
Like, okay, for instance, I had a Kirby way back in the day. And yes, I paid way outrageous amount from a guy that came, and I had a newborn, and I wanted it. So I had it. Anyway, had I known anything about reselling way back then, I would have resold it. But no, I threw it away in the trash.
Yeah.
Like an idiot.
Fisher Flip says the only way I won't be around is if I don't wake up. So Fisher Flip sells clothing. I do know that. And I'd say based on what I've seen on Instagram and just listening to him talk and stuff, that he's got a sort of an edge on your average seller. I mean, he has an idea of what he's doing. He knows the things to stay away from. If right now you were to tell Tech and Sports, hey, start up a new store and make it work with clothing only, the man would make it work, okay? Because he has enough in his mental Rolodex to steer away from the problems that many sellers aren't able to steer away from in that niche. And so someone like Scott saying, hey, I can still make it work. I don't doubt that. I think the message is for those who don't have that kind of experience. Maybe you think you're going to be okay, but you're not quite sure, and you see your sales falling. If you can't find the answer, it might be time to pivot away from that category. There's so many people that gravitate to clothing
because they're easy and
so easy to get, and
so much variety.
Right.
Like there, I mean, you could. I think that's why when we started, we did start with doing some clothes,
shoes and stuff,
But it's easy, it's available, it's readily available.
Yeah, and I think this makes sense. The easier something is to obtain, the harder it is to make it in this game reselling.
Yes.
Unless you're just simply buying truckloads and having a hell of an operation that can. And again, that's kind of talking about the same thing. You have something with low sell-through rate, low ASP in just your mall clothing, right? I'm not talking about the big brands or anything like that. I'm talking about like mall clothing. Upping the volume of your current situation for a store that's not selling to begin with is probably not going to be the answer.
Yeah, because it doesn't matter if you put another 1,000 or 10,000 t-shirts in the store. If you don't know what you're doing and you're not making the, let's say, 100 that you already have in the store sell, if you're not currently taking the steps to have a process to get those items sold, you're not going to be able to sell 10,000 shirts. Upping your quantity is not going to do you any good.
All that's doing is going to increase your workload. Yes, you'll get more sales than if you kept the store size the same, but at the end of the day, I think most of us are doing the best that we can. And how many hours do you have in a day? You only have so much time in a day to make it work. Todd says, funny how every pair of cowboy boots I've ever sell, but these polo shirts don't.
Yeah.
Supply and demand.
It's weird because there was a time when polo shirts sold like easy for us. And now we're still sitting on one that we have had for, I don't know, how long has that, when was
that one we've had a year ago. I mean, there's one left in that batch that we haven't sold.
Yeah, which is weird.
But if I go in here and real quick, if I can find this thing here, if I go to my right screen here and get this off here, if I just go polo shirt, okay, polo shirt, it's going to show me 1.9 million polo shirts currently up for sale, okay? And anybody want to guess how many of these polo shirts have sold in the last 90 days? Just polo shirt, last 90 days, 480,000. So that's a under 20% sell-through rate. Okay, 1.9 million to 480,000. How did I come across that? How did I come up with that answer? You had a total of 2.48 million polo shirts up. Assuming that 1.9 million is sort of hasn't changed too much over the last 90 days in the number of shirts. And that is about a little bit around a 20% sell-through rate. How about cowboy boots? So let's look at cowboy boots. Cowboy boots. Okay, let's get off the solds real quick because I want to see how many are currently listing. Current listed 330,000 pairs of cowboy boots are currently up on the site. And how many have sold in the last 90 days? 67,000. Okay, so 67,000. This is where I break up the calculator. So we've had 367,000. Was that 390,000? There was 390,000, wasn't it?
I don't know. I thought it was 380, but
Okay, so 67,000 sold, and we have 330. Okay, so let's just call it 400,000 between the solds and what's still up, right? So 67 divided by 400. Whoops. 67 divided by 400, if I can get this stupid calculator to work, is 17%. So I don't know. According to the numbers, it seems like the polos have a little bit more volume than I thought that the cowboy boots would be better. But maybe you just have better cowboy boots.
you might just have better.
You're in Texas. You have the authentic cowboy boots. I don't want to hear it. Cry Me a River says, hello, FA fam. Hello, John and Jenna. Finally made it to the live again.
I haven't seen you forever.
Yeah, nice to see you. That's awesome.
Welcome. I hope you're doing good.
Yeah, funny how these Seiko watches sell and these Timex ones don't. Yeah, it's funny, isn't it?
Yeah.
Seiko's a little bit better. Professor Moose Knuckle. I almost called you a professional Moose Knuckle.
Oh my.
Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Between shipping increases and promoted fees, bread and butter clothing has become a tough sell on eBay. At least on Posh, they can bundle and get a decent shipping price. And how many of you clothing sellers out there are even trying to sell outside of eBay? I mean, to me, if I had clothing, if I was mostly clothing, I would think Poshmark would be the better option.
Yeah.
Cheryl says, I just can't see selling clothes or shoes. I don't even like to buy clothes for myself. Let's see. Todd says, funny how these resist-all cowboy hats sell, but the ball caps don't. Yeah, they do. Jovial says, hey, FAA fam. Happy I love Reese's Cup Day.
Yes, me too.
I could eat about a dozen or so right now.
I could eat 12 of them myself right now.
Can you?
No.
Because
I might go 6.
Because
no.
I'll go and get you 12, and then I'll put it on camera, and you can. We'll make it into a short to see if you actually can do it.
I can't do it. I would probably eat 1, to be realistic. But that sounds very good, and I would love to go get some.
Onward Squad's happy with what she's doing.
Yeah.
IdeaPad says, I don't use AI or Facebook or promoted listings. So let me ask you, IdeaPad, are you making it work? And I'm not saying you can't. I'm saying that if you're making it work, keep doing it. But just know that every year that passes, someone in your niche is going to have more of an advantage than you let's say they're using these tools and you're not. I mean, what can you do? But if you're doing it great, I mean, my hat's off to you. I think that's awesome. You're doing it great without those things. And I don't use Facebook to sell my items either, by the way. I just don't know how that even works. Todd says, funny how this sterling silver jewelry sells, but the costume jewelry don't. Yes. Mm-hmm. But I think you made my point. Alzi Beata says, I have found with recent eBay search changes that you just can't list random stuff anymore because it will become stale. Mm-hmm. You need to be consistently listing similar items due to the AI search vector. Yes. Yeah. Yes. And, the items you sell and the processes that you incorporate to sell them are all important. And I think, for some, it's like, I ain't doing an end item sell similar, and I'm not here to convince you to do it. I'm telling you it works for me. But some people would be better off doing that and see better success, but they just refuse to. Mike G says, exactly been saying this for years. Future reselling will be more limited for most. Only large resellers and companies will be reselling. Yeah. Or those who have very, very good stuff. If you have the common items that are plentiful, it's going to be harder to move those things.
Something's wrong with our camera, honey.
Okay, is it the front door?
Yeah, I can't see.
That's weird. Somehow our front door camera, which is wired to electricity, it is offline. That's strange. Cheryl was talking to Moose Knuckle, so we'll go on. There's Paul Rose. Nice to see you. And Wesley says, at the end of the day, we humans are lazy. Even with tech, there are still huge opportunities. And AI is only going to make us lazier. And, I think we saw a thing where the kids in school, it's mostly, AI driven stuff, and the skills, it's already, some schools aren't even showing kids how to write cursive. They don't know how to write it. They're going to have a hard time reading it. I think that's absolutely horrible. Mark says, yeah, just a tool. Some sucks worse than others. Yes. Ping G says, I have a pile of Disney clothing, but I hate taking photos. And I don't think there is going to be a way, well, prove me wrong, but I think that's going to be around for a while where you're going to have to take your own photos. So it's just kind of getting through it. It's put on a good show in the background, or maybe some good music, and just power through it. IdeaPad says, yes, a 1 kilo peanut butter cup. Yes. Counts as the whole landscape of not just selling, but work in general is going to change drastically in the next 5 years with AI, and the next 10 years, scary. And we're all most of us are going to be around for it. So it's, hang on for the ride. Duncan says, Jenna is not a scientist.
No, not.
She's not.
I failed.
Is the stuff still there?
Yeah.
It's still there, huh?
Yep.
So I'd say 20 minutes or so. We're going to have to,
But I thought he worked today.
He is, our carrier gave us a schedule. That's awesome. But unfortunately, he is not here today. Now, Mondays are always busier. And when he came last time a little late, he told me that it's a little bit busier. They're giving him more work to do.
Well, yeah, because they're not, they're giving him more pickups.
Why is it not
it's
working?
It's offline. I don't know. I can't
That's really
figure
weird.
It out.
Alzi Beata says, I became a men's suits and blazer specialist last August because I started seeing changes in search, and prices weren't changing or actually lowering due to completion. I agree. You need to adapt. Yes.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's not to say clothing can't work. You just got to find a way to make it work for you. Buying just anything and everything. I think the place you don't want to be right now in the current climate is an everything clothing seller. Unless you have really good prices. Are you working on that?
I'm just trying to see if it can.
Mark says, I use it as an assistant, not just a QA bot. I think the problem with that is wrong answers. No, I think it used to be that way, where half the time you get a wrong answer. AI has gotten a lot better, and sometimes you can see a wrong answer. I think most of us can use common sense. I think sometimes if you push back on it, it'll correct itself if you see a problem. Class of 91, yeah. IdeaPad, John 91. Turned down Caltech scholarship for Amtrak. To be honest with you, it was very surprising knowing that I barely made it through getting enough credits in high school. It was about
he wasn't as smart as he is now.
No, I think I was intelligent. I just didn't care about school.
Yes.
Didn't have the support system to push me like I needed to be pushed. Yeah. And therefore, I just kind of did it at my own speed.
He didn't get the support until he married me.
Well, that's different. That's different type of motivation. But
no, it was all around motivation in many things.
Right.
Especially a career.
So who knows where I'd be right now? I don't know. Maybe it was someone, it's they're here in black suits as the Men in Black. I don't know. Gemma is on point.
Gemma. Well, thank you.
Open the eBay doors, Al. Yes. And Mike G says, I'm thankful for what I can get now and for the next couple years as a reseller. I know I will run into more BS regulations and roadblocks. God is in control and has and will take care of us, all of us. Yes.
That is
I agree with that 100%. Paul says, I was class of I'll be there most of the time. That's why I did a couple of years of further education.
Well, I didn't do that, but I managed to graduate on time, but it was by the skin of my teeth.
Knowing what I know now, I would have busted my butt in high school and learned as much as I could in high school. Not because I wanted to go to college. The idea of going to college is not... the
idea of going to college, even now and even back then.
Yeah.
I mean, I went and took college courses, and the thought of it just makes me ill.
Yeah. Time to Sell Collectibles says, Al is not my friend. I am intelligent, and if I teach him what I know, he will replace me I tried to tell him. I told him Bill lives next door, and I still get statements in the mail. Yeah, Todd says 25 minutes in. John still has my comment pegged. LOL. Yeah.
Yeah.
Fisher
we're
flips.
really behind.
Yeah, I
today.
know. We're enjoying it. Whatever. Hopefully you guys. We have 126 people watching, so hopefully you guys are enjoying the conversation as well. Scott says, so what happens when people lose their jobs to AI and now less people are working? How is that going to affect people buying online?
Who knows?
This thing has been thrown around a lot, and it's called, what is it? What is the terminology for it? It's at some point, the government's going to have to just start passing out money. It's, what is that called? Global income or, damn it.
I can't think of it right this second. I know what you're talking about, though.
Global, what is it called?
Universal Basic.
UBI.
Okay.
Universal Basic Income.
Yeah.
And that's a concept that's out there. You can look it up, UBI, and where, they're, I guess, the government's making enough money to give us a stipend every month. And that's kind of how we would actually live. I mean, that's kind of scary, to be honest with you.
I don't want that at all.
Let's see. Buy Low Sell Chai says, John, I just checked out a Dick's Sporting Goods outlet store at my local mall called Going Gone.
Oh.
Store's a massive and all brand new things with tags for 90% off. Clothing resellers are cooked. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow. Now, the Dick's is renamed Going Gone?
No,
it's
the outlet store at my local mall is called Going.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's crazy. But maybe that's an opportunity to find things. I don't know necessarily if it's all clothing, but I mean, go in there and find some deals. That's something I would consider. It looks like the ring is working. I think our carrier is here. That means we don't have to rush. 98 in upstate New York. That's wow. 90 here in central Pennsylvania, says Tess. Tess cooked for you.
There he is.
Okay, so he's here.
If I
Mike,
can't catch him on the doorbell, I can catch him on the other camera.
Man, who would have thought that the middle part of May there'd be a day that would be cooler than the rest of the country?
I know.
Crazy.
Usually we're the hottest. Besides Arizona.
Wesley Mode says, resellers have to think, do you want to be Toys R Us, Kmart, or Blockbuster? Oh. No matter how you feel about it, AI, we either adapt or fade away.
That is absolutely 100% right.
You don't want to be in 5 to 10 years saying, you know what, I used to be a reseller, but, right? You want to say that, I'm a reseller and I made it through. There's going to be a number of the people watching right now that aren't going to be reselling in 5 years. And hopefully...
Look at him.
Is he having a hard time?
He took all the packages at one time instead of
What about the bag? You took the bag?
It's right there.
Okay, wow. He's a trooper. Buy Low Sell Chai says Callaway Under Armour FootJoy golf shirts for around $10 brand new with tags.
Wow. I mean, not to resell,
new with tags,
but
golf.
He needs some new shirts.
What's wrong with
No, that is a new one.
That's a newer
one. But he has some ones that are really, they need to go.
Spam says, I feel people who are great communicators have more helpful, better results when using AI. Classes would maybe be helpful for some.
Yeah, that's true.
But, if you realize, like, hey, I'm not a great communicator, you can fire up your favorite AI chatbot and say, I want to have a conversation about my business. I'm not good at the terminology.
Yeah.
Can we cover the material and steer me in the right direction as if I'm a teenager?
Yeah.
And then it'll not use big terminology. It'll break it down for you more than normal. I think we just got to learn how to use the tool. Mike Jesus Fisher Fleos had some thought called universal income. Yes, UBI.
Yeah.
Fisher Flips did, yeah. Upstate Picker says 90 in New York, too, even at 1,600 feet above sea level.
Holy cow.
That's called a heat wave.
That's wild.
Andy Reno says, so what does AI think of the theory that everyone is getting more wind because of the windmills? I don't know.
I'm going to not go there. I'm not stepping in that one.
Why? Is that a political thing?
Yeah. Well, it's not, but people make it out to be.
Let's see. What do you think of the theory there is more wind due to more windmills. I will humor you. Let's do this together. Here it is. Theory is mostly wrong in the simple form people usually mean it. More wind is not being created by windmills. Turbines mainly extract some wind energy and can slightly alter local airflow and turbulence in and around the wind farm. So there you go. It's mostly wrong.
Yeah.
Todd says, funny how these Aerosmith records sell better than Herb Alpert. Okay, we get it. Count says, Paul Rose says, John, are we psychically connected?
Yeah.
I just trimmed the tree out front, and the next week they came and trimmed the others down the street.
Yeah.
We have the same luck.
We do.
But I had to do something. That limb came down, and it was 20 feet up, and it came down to where it was like 4 feet hanging from the ground.
Yeah, it literally
Big
snapped.
limb.
And it was full. It was a full branch full of other, obviously, it's a tree. It's got lots of other branches off of it, and it was terrifying.
But Paul, if I recall, you have a lot of bad luck, unfortunately. Remember when you dropped?
No, don't talk about that.
Okay, you dropped all those.
Don't talk
I'm
about
not going to bring it up. Graham says, currently 49 degrees. We have had storms yesterday and today across the Midwest.
Holy cow.
I like 49 degrees.
I would love to see something here other than wind that causes chaos.
I'd argue on that. FedEx might be cheaper, but you get what you pay for. I think FedEx is just as good as USPS.
FedEx.
I mean, we love our carrier, but how many times do you send out a package with USPS and you get an item that's like been rerouted through Washington, D.C. when it needs to go to the state of Washington? Or it's like, what the hell's going on?
I can agree that the customer service and the people who work for FedEx are absolutely not personable. For one, our FedEx driver that used to come every single day.
Oh, God.
Couldn't even get a hello out of the guy.
And that's if you say hello to the man.
Yes. And just the other day, last week, when I went to go drop off packages at FedEx in the actual FedEx store, I said there was nobody else in the thing, and I went and put all of my boxes on the rollers, and I said, thank you so much for all you do. Have a good evening. Didn't even say a word. I was like, you bitch.
Maylene, Arizona says, we're not dogging anyone who doesn't like to say hello, by the way.
No, it's just common courtesy.
I agree. But people don't know how to communicate anymore.
People are rude.
People don't know how to communicate anymore.
They're
It's
rude.
not like, compare communication today as compared to like what it was in the 40s and how pleasant people used to be.
People are
just saying, you
rude.
see videos and stuff.
The same way at Walmart.
Todd was there in the 40s. I wasn't, but I've seen videos. Maylene says, I just found out that when a buyer returned an item and it breaks, eBay chooses the label and it will not buy an insurance when it's expensive.
Oh.
Interesting. But then again, I can tell you that insurance that we know it on packages is pretty much worthless when it comes to damage. The hoops they make you go through in most cases. $9 shipping on some of our books, says Spam. That's with Media Mail?
Jesus.
I would think if there's no advertisements in the book itself, it should qualify for Media Mail. Todd says, Carnival cruises are for snot-nosed children with COVID bacteria.
Yeah, they're not your highest quality, but I went on a Carnival cruise a couple times, and I guess I was single, and yeah, it was a good time. Those were my drinking days. So I had a great time.
Alicia says, this year I just decided to take more low offers and my sales have skyrocketed, turned into a volume seller, and it has been working out. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with the churn. I call it the churn. So I buy it wanting to make 50. I'm into it for let's say 2, and someone comes at me for 20. It's not ideal, but if I've been sitting on it for 6 months, it might be time to move it. I'm definitely not against that. I think it's fine. We have 10% promoted listings on a lot of our items. 8 we start off at, we bump it up to 10 after it's been sitting for a while, and after 30 days we add offers. So we start getting more aggressive. Now, if someone hit you up with that same offer and you just listed it last night, I think that could be a mistake. PC, you both look killer in that pink and blue. Well, thank you.
Well, thank
Appreciate
you.
that.
Oh, I didn't even realize you have this is kind of pink.
Yeah,
it's like a salmon color.
Yeah, I just because the logo matched my
Yeah.
shirt. So, Alicia says, I've decided that summer slowdown is only based on your mindset. Yes.
Yes.
I think summer slowdown has almost as much to do with the seller activity than it does the buying activity. And I'm not to say it's not slowing down, but if the seller and the buyer both slow down, what do you think that looks like? It's summer slowdown. Time to Sell says, question for Jenna.
Dun,
If
dun,
a
dun.
buyer selects a carrier and you can ship cheaper through another, do you switch?
Yes, because in my opinion, the little tag that says buyer selected or buyer chose, whatever the verbiage is not always true, because it will say that even if there's free shipping on there, it'll say the buyer selected. Well, no, he didn't, because he didn't pay for shipping. So my theory and the way that I work it is, now I look at obviously USPS, FedEx, and UPS, and I will figure out which one is the cheapest. I also will go and I will look to see where it's going. If it's going to in the States, so domestically, not like Hawaii or Puerto Rico, then I will kind of base my decision on what the item is and how I need to pack it. If it's just a box, no, I don't need to put anything on it. It's a blank cardboard box and it's in good condition. I have 3 different options and I'm only taking the one that's the absolute lowest. If I have to do a box in a bag, it has to go USPS. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. But if the box is a box, like today I did a coffee pot, what's it? Casa.
It's an espresso machine.
Yeah, and
Casa Brews.
Yeah, Casa Brews. So they're advertising what the item is on the box, in the retail box. And in my personal opinion, I do not like to show people when it gets delivered, there's more option for porch pirates or people to steal the package if you can tell what's in the box. Sure, there is the debate that, maybe what's in the box is different from what's the picture on the box. That's a whole different debate. But in my opinion, I will always go for the cheapest option for that type of way that I need to package that item.
Yeah, and I'd say, though, in my opinion, the biggest factor is how long is it going to take for it? Because see, most buyers care about one thing.
Yes.
I want it when I'm told I'm going to get it.
Yes.
And if you select an option that is like 2 days, extends that window, that range by a couple days, that could open you up to a problem.
Right. However, I have done that as my own science experiment to see if people complain. So I've only done it a few times to see if maybe we get a negative or they send a message saying, hey, I wanted USPS, but you sent it FedEx and it took an extra day or 2 or whatever. I will then keep that in mind when I am thinking about changing it. But for the most part, I will change it, especially if it's USPS and that's what they chose, but it takes longer to get there by maybe 2 days for FedEx, but it's significantly cheaper in price. I'm going to go with FedEx.
So this is where I start to turn into Skippy long stocking.
Yeah.
Where we got a lot of comments to cover, and I can't cover everyone, but I'll do my best. Keith is doing a series of lives restoring a retro vintage 8-track stereo tape to its former glory this evening at 9 p.m. UK time.
So that's for us tomorrow
Yeah.
at 9.
Well.
Oh.
Okay. So Dominic is with us. Nice to see you, Dominic. we gotta get Skippity Skip. Dark Horse said I turned down free clothes for my brother. Free is the best cost of goods.
Free is great.
I would say if it's items that just won't sell and you haven't seen sold comps, I'd pass. But free is always a good starting point. Paul, well, I'm well off at the moment, but I'd be buying original Fairground Carnival wooden signs lately. Cool and rare collectibles. Will always find a buyer eventually. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
Band Ramoir. I'm mainly clothing accessories seller and I network for free goods. So many people are happy to give it. Yep. And your OfferUp app is a great tool to do that.
B&P Armoire. Look at their logo.
Oh, B&P.
Or no, is it an R?
B&R Armoire.
B&R Armoire.
Okay. Let's see. Sidebar. We got Richard Spinowski. Nice shirt, John. Jenna, you always look lovely. Well, thank you.
Control Shift 4 is
to snip on Apple. So what do you highlight and then Control F4?
Hold on.
Well, I'm not holding on. I'm moving on. Okay. Just taking a video.
No.
I could dib or whatnot. Doesn't sell. Keith says,
true.
Yeah, we busy as heck at the warehouse, shredding around 14 tons of electronic waste a week.
Wow.
So I can only really do the restoration stuff on the evenings. Wow, that's crazy.
Wow, that's nuts. See, they don't.
That's the Brad.
Do we have a thing like that out in this United States?
Oh yeah. Alicia says, I left a 6-figure corporate job to be a reseller. Do not make as much as I once did, but I'm at peace and happier in life. I pivot every chance I can grow my business, and I have doubled my sales.
And you know what, Alicia? Your peace of mind and being happier in life in general is priceless.
Corporate world sucks, guys. The corporate world sucks. Sutter's Mill says a reseller business that pays your bills peacefully is already successful, even if it never becomes $1 million empire.
Absolutely.
And I agree with that. And nobody here is going to get rich. So if you're doing this thinking somehow you're going to be rich, no, it's just a means to an end. And for some, that's enough. Mm-hmm. Is it allowing us to do the little things we want to do? Yes, and that's fine. Yeah. Keith says, but although we busy as heck in the unit processing waste electronics, I only need to be there for 3 hours a day as the staff works on most of it. I just got to do the admin part. Okay. Got to get those paychecks.
Nice. Good for you, Keith.
Wesley Mode says, I know the gig work struggle real well, still doing some, so I'm close to being full-time again with my wife reselling.
Nice.
That's the goal. Get there.
That's the goal. You can
do it.
You can do it, and I'm telling you, it'll be worth the grind. Like I said, 2022 was a hell of a year for us. And I'm so thankful that we got ourselves out of it.
Lower Your Heating Bill says, try selling new parts, John. You can turn your ship on a dime, unlike eBay. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's the third store is happening. We just got it. It's like someone saying, hey, I want to create a YouTube channel. Well, you can't start it until you make your first video. So I can't get that store going.
You know who did their first video today?
Who?
Eric Bressi, right? Bressi. He watches us normally. I haven't seen him today, but I was watching him this morning when I was doing some sourcing, and it was his first video. I think there was a couple people in there, but yeah, he was he was scanning pages out of old magazines, and it was actually pretty cool to watch.
S. Latina says, Poshmark has helped my numbers for sure in the last few weeks. Went back for the free boxes, thanks John, and stayed for the good sales. There you go. Awesome.
For you.
Awesome. Spam says, I heard on another reseller channel, Vinted doesn't like resellers who do reselling as a business. Just did an AI search. This is what I got. If you attempt to run a full-time reselling business on a standard US or UK Vinted account, you run a very high risk of getting permanently banned.
Why?
What's the bar? How do they what's to say you're just what do they call it? A private seller that's selling stuff
Yeah.
out of their garage. Ben Davis says, I'd
Huh.
love to be full-time, but I'm making great money. I've been full-time before reselling.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Mhm.
Got to do what works.
Yep.
Lower your heating bill, take returns at your location and see what happens. Turn around and resell them as new when possible. That's how I do it. I don't really mind returns as long as customer pays all expenses.
Mm-hmm.
But if they say INAD, then you got to pay for that.
Yeah.
Spam says listing a high volume of items daily, listing new with tags, liquidation, pallet items. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those were the days. Those were nice.
Mike G says, I agree about on the spot with yard sales. I'm used to sourcing online, but with that said, if you're experienced at doing yard sales, then you know what to do and make it work. You don't have to look a thing up, right? Yep. John Doe says, I use a photo booth you can stand in for my clothes.
Oh, yeah. They do have those. I've seen them.
Andy Reno, but for the price, I couldn't pass it up. I don't know what you... Did I pass you? Okay. How's it going, FA family? Speaking of stupid decisions, I bought half a pallet universal remote controls.
Okay.
But for the price, you couldn't pass it up.
Yeah.
I'd say that's fine. I mean, it's all based on price. And I mean, but then again, if none of them sell, remotes do sell, by the way. Yeah, if it's an item that people don't buy, then it no price makes it worth it. Mm-hmm. Honorary Squaw says, John, it makes you more relatable if you let Jenna tell us about these moments.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know, but I don't want people to think I'm crazy.
He's just a human.
I guess it's too late, right?
He talks to himself. He thinks he's the best singer. And
I'm the best singer in my mind, but I know that's never going to sell a record.
That's just not. He's not it. Okay, it'd be like what's his name on American Idol.
But the effort's
he's
there.
He's a little pitchy.
The effort's there. BND
B&D Armoire.
Okay, I'm thinking out hard goods.
Is that an R?
B&R Armoire.
Yes.
Thinking out hard goods as I don't want to store them and more work to ship. I'm moving into clothes for sure.
Yeah, I mean, and that.
You got to work with what you have.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, and I think what maybe Tech and Sports was saying is that the game is going to get more difficult.
It's it's already difficult in my opinion.
Yeah.
But
I think we're already there. We've been there for a while, mm-hmm. and I think
it's very.
I think the thing that's kind of seals the deal on that is AI listing. It's more people are getting more items up. Your competition is way more. You saw the shirts. Mm-hmm. There's 2 million shirts, polo shirts, as compared to boots. There's 300,000 boots.
Yeah.
Let's see. Sherry Dallas Treasure says, working steady, getting ready for a big 90 on 90 sales coming up.
Oh.
Is that like a yard sale?
What is the 90 miles, 90 sales in 90 miles? Is that what you're talking about?
John Elshat says, I tried dabbing into thrifting clothing pretty hard to come across stuff that flips at a big profit. I'm big on estate sales.
Yeah.
Sean Gatto says, I totally understand the self-argument. I talk to myself at all the time,
usually calling my probably myself a dumbass.
No, well, don't do that.
That's what he was calling himself, and I'm like, you're being way too hard on yourself.
Count says, John, you mean the people don't know their onions? I'm shocked. You have to be that you can't stock onions. I mean,
you can, but it was the fact that you walk in the store and there's nothing on the shelves.
We were at Sam's Club, and it was like the produce was wiped kind of clean, and the bread area is wiped clean. It's like, let's go to Costco and get a membership over there, and that's where we went. Yeah. Andy says, we already have a robot going through the aisles of Kroger taking inventory. That's crazy.
Yeah, I think late at night I've seen those.
Mike Mecco says, to be honest, I rate my items 6 to 8. Wow.
Because you're good, Mike. You take a lot.
I can't substantiate that, but I'm willing to bet. I mean, if you have 8s, I mean, you're like...
He is good.
It's going to be hard to keep things in stock.
He pays very close attention to detail, and when he's picking, he's really into paying attention to what he's
B
looking at.
and D, B and R armoire. So much I have is free or pennies, and that's the best way to source if it's as close to free as possible.
Yeah, like if I was a clothing seller, I would be in heaven right now because I have an entire wardrobe that I need to get rid of, and but ain't no way I'm doing it.
Coppercat says, honestly, at this point, I would say my items average 8.5. My inventory is way down. My normal inventory level, I would say about 9 with an occasional 10. But let me push back a little bit. So your 9s and 10s, how many of those 9s and 10s are in your store after week 2? Because in my mind, if you have an item that is still in your store after week 2, there's no way it can be a 9 or 10. But see, that's just that we have different ideas about our items. But what really matters is what does the buyer think? And I really think the buyer thinks the buyers, they're not buying your item. They're the ones that are determining what number your item is. There's just no scale for it.
Yeah.
Jovial says, hi, Aunt Thelma.
Yep, she did enter the chat.
John Doe says, with the continued increase in shipping, I think the route to go for me is bulk lots. Make 1 listing instead of 10.
Yeah.
It's a good idea. Less work. Big Dre says, hello, John, Jenna in the chat. Picking and packing had to wait for the old grumpy guy that was blocking the gate. He didn't want to move, even though he forgot his code. Eventually moved, but it was annoying. I can see how that is.
We know that feeling.
Biff says you can't really rank items without considering the price of that item as well. Yeah, I mean, the higher the ASP, the better, I think. But I just still think it's just a general statement. I think people think they're better at certain things than they actually are. And
I think he really wants you to know this because he has it 2 extra times.
But that's part of the equation, though. It's part of the equation. I agree, but I just still think, even that said, people think their items are better than they are.
Yeah.
B is 8XC says bundling items is a great recommendation. Yes, I agree with that. John Gaynor says, hi, Jen and John. Sales are slowing, but I hope to list more items over the summer. I see beer sales are down 6 to 9.
Beer
sales are down 6 to 9%. So gas prices are hitting home. I just hope we do not go into a recession. I think we're already there. I just don't think it's being reported. Let's see. Biff says, you can beat 20 or other sellers if you have margins to offer the best price. You can, but what if the numbers are higher than that? You have a lot more than 20 sellers you're up against. Mike G says, sell 4,000 units each year, give or take for the past 5 years. I list 12 to 15 days, which is 4K give or take. Yeah. Yes, the Kirby vacuums are well made.
Yes.
John Ellishat says, I truly believe what you're selling is so important. I have 233 items listed now, and I'm still just selling the same amount as when I had 130 to 160 items listed. I think you're right. John Gaynor and Flip It says, if you're selling clothing, you either have to do free shipping or free returns. The right stuff will sell, even if it's common stuff. It's just a matter of doing it right.
Yeah.
I sell clothing daily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wesley Mode says, that is my problem with clothing and CDs. The more people pushing content on them, the harder it is to make a living. CDs easily workflow. Clothing is hard. Yeah, CDs is just CDs is crazy easy.
Yeah. And I think a lot of newer resellers who are doing this, whether they jumped in head first as a full-timer or just doing it part-time, they see all these YouTube guys doing it and they're like, I'm gonna do what they do. You gotta tailor your business to what works for you. If you are able to get CDs in an abundance and on a regular basis to refill stock and whatever, then great. But if you don't have that availability to you and wherever you live, it's not going to work for you.
Yeah, Todd, it was just like a rough thing. It's to go through all those lists, it'd be impossible to try to figure out the exact sell-through rate of anything. That's why it's still rough, fuzzy math. Give you a general idea. The best place to go is like product research. It'll give you the exact number, but if on the fly, it's kind of a quick math. But it's a lot better than saying, there's a 300% sell-through rate on this item. It's like, that's not possible. Roadrunner Rerun says, hi, FA peeps.
Hello.
Finally got my first small sale in days. Need to scour my inventory for the luxury items, collectibles. Rich people still have money. They still do.
This is true.
Rich people aren't even affected, aren't even thinking, oh, there's a recession.
Yep.
Or a possible recession on the horizon.
Yeah.
Dixie Flipper, hi everyone. I just want to say hi, and that I was just laid off at my 9 to 5 on Friday, so I'm making this my full time. You and Jenna keep these videos coming, and keeps me going. Well, I wish you luck on that.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we were there. You get forced into a situation where you have to do full-time reselling or find another job. We took reselling and ran with it. You just have to understand that you're going to think you know what works for full-time, and you're going to find out that you were wrong like we did. And a hard pivot like that, like, oh, means I can't go to Ross or Marshall's and buy shoes like we tried to do. We're all proud of. We took photos for Facebook and we had all this merchandise. We got it listed and we hardly had any sales. This sucks.
Yeah.
So time to pivot. And we looked into liquidation and never looked back.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sorry you lost your job. That really does suck. We sure do know the feeling.
Here's Rhonda. Rhonda B says, sold 4 on Poshmark and 2 on eBay today. I don't promote on eBay and my store is under 100 items.
Okay.
So, you know, it just, you just got to find out. Maybe right now it's working without promoting. You just got to find what works for you.
Yeah.
You know, be on Team Todd where you don't promote and still make money. It's possible. You just got to find out what that is. And if you do promote, it's not as simple as promoting at just the minimum or the recommended. You got to find a number that falls in between.
Don't go up to the recommended.
Roadrunner Reruns. Economic term is sunk cost. You sunk money into it, so it must be valuable. Yep.
Yes.
Bystander 0007. I have a few hundred listings, mostly jeans, on eBay. Easy to find, list and ship. 0 downsides, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you got to process, I'm sure, to get those things listed. Mm-hmm. Fast photos, I'm sure. Yeah. Biff says, really broad search terms like polo shirt or cowboy boot is just too vague to tell a story. It's just to give you...
It's just an example.
Yeah, I mean, we're not diving in deep. I mean, it's just one of those things I did as just the general... Let's take a look at the two.
Yeah.
ABC Matt, nice to see you. 70 degrees in the Pacific Northwest, I think you're at.
Oh, yeah. Didn't they just have a meetup?
They did. I know Tree Cat was there.
Yeah.
I think they sponsored it.
That's awesome.
John Doe says, Elon Musk has been talking about UBI for quite a while now. Robots will do all the work. We'll get a little check. And, I don't... Look, money...
I don't want to live like that.
Money is just a game anyway. It's, the whole manipulation of money and what it's worth and all that. It's just manipulation. And... they say that it's going to work, then hey, I'm not going to try to hurt my head. But at the end of the day, what does UBI and something like that mean for resellers?
Yeah.
Biff says, don't think wearable technology will read cursive for the next generation. Kind of like my 5th grade teacher said, I won't always have a calculator with me. You will. You have your phone, it has a calculator on there, and I use my calculator.
Got hacked. Just FYI.
Yeah, I heard that. How do you unhack it?
I don't know. I'll have to.
That's weird.
I have no control over it. I don't.
I know. I know that.
I'm not a moderator.
I know Christopher Nutter told me, and I don't know why I didn't jump on that.
Yeah.
Gardens Resell Thrift says, I look outside in the backyard and think we need a pool.
Dude, I was looking for a pool yesterday. It was so hot on Saturday. So.
Susan Rubinski says, agree. I think we're in a recession too. Once you get old enough, you're like, oh man, I've seen this before. We're in a recession. I think we are. I think slow sales, a part of it is because of that. I mean, I sit here and tell you it's what you're selling, but it's what you're selling combined with who's not buying, and that hurts all of us. Wesley Mode says, cross-listing is the next move we should all make. Tree Cat seems like the best option. Let's try it. I mean, you can get it for free for 2 months. Use my code.
For free.
And we'll give a hat and shirt away. I'll let you guys check out the promo here pretty soon. Well, do me a favor. Hit a number in the chat. If you're watching us live, in the chat, between 1 and 300, put a number in there, and we'll do a drawing here in a minute. We'll get some people a chance to put their number in. Rich people are buying, says Susan.
Yeah.
Ended to Flip It says the biggest YouTube reseller channels don't get into all the nuances of reselling on eBay. So it's about so much more than I bought this for $3 and
Yes.
sold it for $100. Really irritating and misleading.
Yes,
It is.
and that is exactly why this man started YouTube way back in, when was it, 2020?
Yeah.
So, because
Beginning of
we
2020.
wanted to know specifics.
And I am reading your comments. I'm just slow to get to them. A lot of comments today. Garden Resale Thrift says, one of our meetings on List Perfectly talked about that too. Some people are switching to that method. Susan says, if anyone is interested in learning more about universal basic income, Albert Wenger at Union Square Ventures in New York City has written some great pieces on it in his blog.
Interesting.
Okay, so here's the thing.
Albert Wenger?
Yeah, Wenger.
Wenger?
So here's the thing. We're going to play the Tree Cat promo, and we'll come right back and pick a winner. Put a number between 1 and 300 in the chat, and we'll come back and pick a winner. You guys hear us talk a lot about cross-listing on this program, and you guys know that we talk also a lot about Tree Cat. It's just packed full of features. And the cool thing is it's really not a program that's 100% only for cross-listers. Yes, if you're a cross-lister, there's no need to even use any other tool, but there's a cool feature I really haven't talked about a lot, and that's their AI photo listing feature that allows you to upload one or more photos for one or more listings, and the AI is going to step in and do your listing work for you. And then all you have to do is go in, double check the work, and launch your listings, and you've saved yourself a ton of time. Now, the best part about this is that this is yet just another feature built within TreeCat, and you do not pay for any listings that you make until the item sells. So you only pay when you sell with TreeCat, and you can list hundreds, thousands of listings. They don't care. It's the only time that you're ever going to pay is when it sells. Now, for the first 2 months, if you use my code down below, you won't have to pay at all for the first 2 months. And then you can evaluate what I've been trying to tell you all along, that TreeCat is the best program, and this just puts it over the top. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Well, what I'm waiting for is this wheel to spin. We will cap it off at Garden Resale Thrifts, who has 160, and we are going to spin. Good luck, everyone. Who will win? Not a lot of folks doing it. Maybe, what, a dozen? Not even that. It is a low number, 55. 55! I can't drive 55. Wow, no one's really too close in that. Is it S Latina? Maybe? I think it's S Latina.
So.
Yep.
Lucky 13.
42 off. 42 off. I don't see anyone close to that. So, S Latina, hit me up at my email, flippinainteasy2020@gmail.com. I'll have it in the chat for you.
13 is my lucky number.
And that was kind of a not very close, but you win.
I know. Yay.
So that's it.
Shirt size and your mailing address.
Shirt size and address, yes. Garden Resale Thrift says, my neighbor used to have above a ground circle pool, and when he bought the house, he let the pool go. The water turned green, and the wind did the rest of the damage. Now what's left is a wooden deck.
Yeah, they are a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
But when I say get a pool, I mean like a kiddie pool. Like just to be able to have some water. We can go as locals to some of the casinos. The resorts have, for locals, it's free to have a pool day. There's other places that that charge like a daily fee, but you can go like to the Rio as a local and go to the pool for free. So
you know, it's crazy. We get numbers that come in after we do the drawing.
Oh,
like
no.
Rosia at 54 and Wesley Moan at 46.
Oh, you know why?
And they're going to be
because they had to rewind or pause.
Yeah,
at some point, so they don't realize. So
yeah, and that's so we gotta maybe
figure
it out.
out how to.
So for those of you who kind of paused the live, you got something to do, and then you pick it up back. What we're gonna do probably in the future is
I never even thought
probably
about that.
probably like 10 minutes before we end or we do the drawing, we're going to start having people put numbers so that this doesn't happen. So again, S Latina wins, but you know, we're giving these shirts and hats away 2 times a week. So you can win the next one. I know it.
Yeah.
Susan says, I live a half block from the beach. Just go to Long Island Sound.
I wish.
So here's the deal, guys. We're going to head out. We've done this for 2 hours now. I want you guys to check out it's a new intro, but we're still working on it. The intro is not even close to ready, but at least I thought I'd let you hear the outro. Hear one of the many songs that we're able to put together. And look, we don't need to put an outro, but we just think it's fun. It makes me happy. So just entertain me.
It does make him very happy.
It makes me happy. Yeah. So you don't have to listen to it, but there's a couple people that have complained about it. And look, I ask for a little joy from this channel. and that's the only joy that I can give myself. So thank you for being here and being the best part of this channel. And look,
Everybody have a great week.
I wouldn't worry so much about, all this stuff. Look at the signs, how it affects your business. If your business is struggling, you got to find the answer, and the answer's out there. So I'll leave it at that. So
everybody have a great week. We love you very much. We appreciate all of your time and effort. And God bless.
And real quick before we go, Susan, our show is at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern, Mondays and Fridays.
Yes.
So we'll see you there on the next one.
Friday.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
Chargebacks, returns, low ball offers too. Verbal takedowns, they're a pain. What can we do?